Hi everyone, I'm continuing this series of Halacha Shabbat. Halacha, let's learn Shabbat Halachot together. I've already done around 17 videos. It's the 18th installment. We're learning Yalkut Shabbat, friends, every single day. I'm Michael Superbelly here. I'm going to say it in Hebrew and English. We're learning at the moment laws within regards to leaving food on fire as Shabbat begins. Different communities have different halachot within regards to what to do on Shabbat itself, especially between Sephardic and Ashkenazic communities, different leniencies and different stringencies. Yesterday we were talking about, with regards to ovens with Shabbat settings, what do you do with regards to foods, with regards to that, or if it's got a thermostat. And let's try and go through a few laws today. We are on Siman 253, and we are on Halacha Zayin. So let's go for it. Let's do a few over here in this power session. I'm using the Saka edition, everyone, of the Yalkut Yosef. תנור אפייה חשמלי שהלהבה עולה מיד בעת פתיחת דלת התנור. אין להשרות תבשיל בתוכו מערב שבת, שאינו יכול לפתוח התנור בשבת. So what's it saying here in Halacha number 7 over here, friends? One may not leave food to remain warm in an oven that is turned on if the oven is of the kind whose heating elements heat up automatically when the door is open, because naturally we know that this can happen. It will be forbidden under any circumstances to open the door of that oven on Shabbat itself. I said the bracha before. Okay, pretty much going along the lines of yesterday's halacha. Halacha chet 8. אין להחסיר תבשיל בשבת לתוך תנור חשמלי הדולק מערב שבת, שיש לחוש בזה למחזי כמבשל. אבל כשקיימים תנאי החזרה, דהיינו בתבשיל לחם בחום שיצאו לדבו, והוציאו ולא הניחו על גבי קרקע, מותר להחסיר הקדרה לתנור, ובזה לך לאיסור מחזי כמבשל. So friends, what's it saying over here in this halacha? It's forbidden to place food back into an oven that is turned on once took it out on Shabbat, even if it's already completely cooked. Our sages prohibited any act that appears to be an act of cooking, even if it actually is not, if one fulfills all the conditions which we talked about yesterday, delineated in the following halacha. It will be allowed to put the food back into a hot oven. Okay. ויש אומרים שכל זה כשמחסיר לתנור תבנית שדרך לאפות ולבשל בתנור, ובזה צריך שיהיו תנאי חזרה. אבל בקטרה של חמין שאין דרך להתנע בתנור אפייה, אין בזה מחזיק כמבשל. ויש מחמירים גם בקטרות חמין אחר שרגילים להטמין בתנור תבשיל חם. So friends, what's going on here? Some rabbis ruled that there is a problem of appearing to be an act of cooking only. If the item that one wishes to place back into the hot oven is a pan or a tray, usually used for oven cooking. But what if it's a stew pot over here, stew, which is normally used on top of the stove? They claim that there is no problem of appearing to be act of cooking. Other poskim rule that the problem exists even with the stew pot, since people often place such a pot into an oven to cook over a Shabbat. So we'll still have that problem of k'mechzia mevashel over here with regards to this appearance issue. A long halacha now over here. This is quite a long series, so let's try and get through this today in this shorter section. We're now talking about conditions for permitting hazara with regards to a pot. So you've taken off. Are you allowed to put it back on or not? We can learn all about this now. Hanotel k'deiram al ha'ish b'Shabbat asur lo lachzira l'sham. Okay, once one has removed a pot of food from the fire on Shabbat, it is going to be forbidden to put it back on the fire. However, if one is going to fulfill conditions, it's then going to be permissible to return the pot onto the fire. And now I'm going to list over the conditions, what the Saka edition says here. Aleph, sha'esh tiyeh muchusa, bu'adin, grufa v'ktuma. We learned about grufa v'ktuma yesterday. Inside the thing. Shelo chayshinan bo leshama yechateh v'kumvo b'hakdama. Okay. The fire is covered with a sheet of metal, it needs to be, or asbestos. Since it is not the normal way to cook on a covered fire, one thus avoids the problem of appearing to be performing an act of cooking, which we try and avoid. Alternatively, it's also allowed with an oven like those in the Talmudic times. After the coals have been swept away, this called, when you take the coals off, we call that gerufa, or cold ashes have been spread over the coals. when you spread these cold ashes, it's called ketuma, naturally, which we said. Okay, so that's the first one. The condition bet, the second condition, it's got to be a dry food like rice, schnitzel or chamin. It's got to be a food like schnitzel, which is dry also, and if it's a chulun, chamin, it's got to be mostly dry things, very little liquid. The third condition, it's been totally cooked and its necessary ways. Okay. If it's a liquid kind of thing, like a soup, where the majority is soup, and it's been totally cooked, and you want to now return this soup, which is totally cooked, back onto the hot plate, let's just say. Now you need two extra conditions over here when we're talking about something lach that's totally cooked. Okay, it is still at this stage in time when you want to put it back, yatzelebo, the where you're going to burn your hand. It's that hot at that stage. But if it's cooled down, less than yatzelebo, it will be forbidden by the Torah to cook a liquid, even if once it was cooked before, according to this. Okay. The second condition here, וכן דווקא כשלא הניח את הקדירה על גבי קרקע, אלא על גבי מיטה, כיסא או ספסל, או שולחן בכתומה, אבל אם התבשיל פושר, והוא לך שרובו מרק, אסור להחזירו על גבי האש בכל אופן. In the case that the pot has been put down in the meantime, it was only put, let's say you put it on a bed, or a chair, or a bench, or a table over here. If it was put down on the floor, in that case, if we're talking about the floor here, what's going to happen? It's forbidden to return the pot to the fire, no matter how hot the food still is, since it appears to be an act of cooking. So if it's boiling hot and then you put it on the floor and then you want to take it back again, now it's problematic because of the appearance of cooking over here. Mishum rishul bishul tekaima lahalacha shish bishul acha bishul belach. Okay, there's a notion out there, a halacha, where there's cooking. If you've got a liquid after it's cooked, to cook it back, a liquid product. V'ab betavshil muvshalach shucham b'chom shehayat ledbo she'az ein bo isu bishul acha bishul kamo b'davar yavesh. Okay, mikol makom b'ofen sheniach hatavshil al gabei karka, which I talked about, or shenichov b'makom shederech lenicho sham acha siyum hashimush b'kteira. יש לעשות בזה מצד איסור חזרה, ואין להחזיר הקדירה על גבי אש, אף שהיא גרופה וכתומה. Okay, friends, what's it saying over here? Okay. Yeah, so it's basically saying that there's an other reason of chazara over here, which is one of the issues. It's permissible, as we said before, to return a pot of food to a stove pot if it's got the shetom, it's the meat, or it's an electric warming tray, even if the pots had been put down on the floor before. Our sages forbade hazara because once the pot was on the floor, the act of returning it to the fire appears to be one of putting food up to cook, as we've explained. However, placing food on a stove pot covered in this manner or an electric warming tray never appears to be an act of cooking, since when someone actually wishes to cook, he does not do it that way. That's not the way people cook usually. Okay, אמנם להחזיק קדירה על גבי פלטה חשמית המצווה כיום, והוא הדין על גבי כיסוי מתחת המונח על הגז הנקרא אצל אשכנזים בלך. The Ashkenazim call the hot plate a blech, I believe. Okay, מותר אם הניח את הקדירה על גבי קרקע. והטעם בזה היינו משום שאין דרך לבשל על גבי פלטה חשמלית, או על גבי הבלך, ולכן אין בזה איסור משום מחזיק מבשל. שהרי כל איסור חזרה כשהניח על גבי קרקע, היינו משום שבהפסקה זו שהניח על גבי קרקע נחשבת פועלת חזרה אסיר כנתינה לכתחילה על האש, ומילא יש בו איסור מחזיק כמבשל, אבל בפלטה חשמלית כאמור אין בו איסור מחזיק כמבשל, ולכן אף אם הניח הקדירה על גבי קרקע מותר להחזיר. אני give an extra warning, רק שיזהה שהתבשיל יהיה עדיין חם או חום Yatzeled. Okay, Ashkenazic Jews over here practice a leniency when it comes to returning liquid food, such as soup, to the fire, even if it's cooled down to a temperature less than Yatzeled. They have got a leniency over here, as we know. As long as it is still warmer than room temperature, it's got to be thick. For Ashkenazi community, it's got to be at least room temperature. On the other hand, they practice two stringencies, and machmir in two ways. One may return food to the fire only if one had intentions to return it when one removed it from the fire. You need intention, kavanah, beforehand. Also, bet, one must hold on to the pot from the time one removed it from the fire until one returned it. That's another condition. Sephardi Jews may return food to the fire even if one had no such intention when removing it from the fire, and even if one had put it down and did not continue holding it at that stage in time. Okay, so I think that's it for today. We've made a steady progress. We're going to continue on Halacha Yud in the next session. Wishing you all, I'd like to dedicate this once again to Rivka Bat Rachel. Wishing you all a great day. Take care. Bye.